Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Things Love. I'm your host, Kelly Garnett from Sacred Dating. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Lisa Jones. She is a speaker, comedian, author, and creator of the Thrive Through Play methodology. That's P.L.A.Y, which I can't wait to hear what that is. She believes we all need a little more play because adulthood is overrated. Ain't that the truth? Welcome, Lisa. I'm so excited that you're here.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So, before we get started, let's just dive into a little bit about what's play. Where did all this come from? And then I'll start with my first question.
Yes. So, play is what I like to call it's my acronym. So, people always ask me, what does play stand for? And I
Mhm.
usually smile and say, well, it depends. Because the truth is, the letters really aren't the point. The point is play. So,
Yeah.
sometimes the why means you, because the relationship that you have with yourself shapes every other relationship in your life, which
Yes.
I know that I've heard you say before, Kelly. So sometimes
Preach.
it's you time because all we need is permission to recharge. And sometimes it's yes and because growth
Oh,
begins when we're willing to say yes to new experiences. But what never changes is the idea behind it. And that is really play helps us connect, heal, communicate, solve problems, and find more joy. And that's really what the Thrive Through Play is really about. The framework evolves because people evolve and play meets us exactly where we are. And that's what I truly
wow.
believe. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that so much. It is so interesting. I mean, I was an elementary teacher, so I would have yard duty and watch the kids play. And as my body has gotten older and the parts aren't working as strongly, like I always wanted to jump in and sometimes I did, but sometimes I was like, "Oh, you guys, I can't, my knees. My knees don't want to play right now."
I
So
know
I
you're
love
making me
that.
think of those surrender squats.
Oh, I don't know what those are.
Yeah.
You have to tell
Like
me
if
what
you're
those
in a squat position and then you put your both knees down and then you try to get back up to a squat position, but you
are.
do it over and over again. They are hard to do,
Oh.
but worth it.
Well, I know it's my quads, so I gotta build those up, which I'm working on right now. Anyway, we digress. So,
Yes.
I love to start every interview with, what do you think most people get wrong when it comes to love?
Yes. Well, I think it's a misunderstanding of love, really, because we treat it like a destination instead of a game we keep choosing to play. So we grow up
Oh,
hearing you'll find the one, like love is some sort of scavenger hunt. Then we assume once we find that person that the game is over. Ding, we won, cue the credits. But then the real life shows up. You get the laundry, the bills, the aging parents, work deadlines. But someone forgets to unload the dishwasher for like the 847th time. And I'm talking about my husband here, but that's when people think the love disappeared. But I don't think it disappeared, Kelly. I think what we happened is that we stopped playing because when we were kids, if you think about it, play is how we build relationships. We play with
yeah,
other kids.
yeah.
We don't walk onto a playground and ask, so what's your attachment style? We ask, want to play?
You
And
want to
within
play?
5 minutes, we're best friends. We're building an imaginary castle, or we're chasing each other around pretending the lava is real. I'm sure we all remember that game. But the point is, somewhere along the way, we stop inviting that playful little kid into our relationships. We trade curiosity for certainty, and we trade laughter for efficiency. And we become so focused on being productive, responsible, and right that we forget how to be delighted by another human being. And for me, loving my inner child means giving her a seat at the table. And she's
Mm,
the one who still believes there is another way to solve a problem. She laughs at the ridiculous. And who isn't afraid to look silly? Because every time that we choose play, we're reminding our inner child that they don't have to earn joy. They're already worthy of it. And it's interesting because that's made me a better partner, friend, and business owner. So yeah.
wow. Just wow. That was an incredible answer. There's so much to unpack just in that in itself. Like, I love what you were saying and that inner child connection. When I got my master's in spiritual psychology, that was a huge portion of the work we did was connecting to that inner child. We actually even did it. Eric Erickson, who's a psychologist, has stages of development, and we connect it to every age, including older age too. But we went through our baby self and connected to that to the next, all the different levels. And it's so incredible when we allow the idea of this, whether you believe it or not. I believe, when we turn 18, we're not suddenly a grown up. We're now just a bigger kid in an adult body.
Yeah.
We're all operating as little kids in adult bodies. We weren't trained to officially become an adult. So, really allowing your inner one to have a seat at the table, as you said, that was so brilliant, is so important. And to nurture her, I had an experience yesterday where she was triggered, and I had to first of all acknowledge, wait, this is my inner child who's having this, because my adult self knows what's going on and is not having this experience, but my little one is. And then I have to soothe her. And that was one of the things that we would do often, is self-soothe or soothe that inner child, allow them to have a voice, take them to different, like, go spend a day doing what your inner child wants to do. And so I love that you have that connection with her. And so what inspired you to do the work that you're doing? Where did this all come from?
Yeah. So my background is, I'm a dietitian. So I was teaching at a university,
Oh
and my
wow.
students every year at the end of the term, the semester, they did their evaluations, they would just write funny. And then they would always be challenging me, like, you're funny. Like, why don't you do stand up? And I'm like, okay. Like, they kept saying it so much that, like, I was like, challenge accepted. I'm going to go try that. So I like started doing stand up, and I just fell in love with it. I'm like, it's the perfect way to talk about things that I'm passionate about, but make it fun. So nutrition's one of the things that I talk about. But then over time, what happened was I was also working at the school district of Philadelphia. This was as one of my first careers out of college when I was done my degree. And we'd have to keep always entertaining them to stay awake. Like we'd have like long training days, and they would be like they would write, this is boring. Like, so we'd find like new, so we started playing games with them,
Who's
like
them? Is
different
this the
ways to.
students or the
Oh
staff?
no, this was the employees. We
Okay.
were responsible for training 1,100 employees. So we had like
Oh, wow.
every time like we did a new training, like, oh, how can we make this different? What can we do? So that's where I started doing games and gamification and play. So then I combined the two, and that's what I do today.
Oh
So
my
that's
gosh,
what
I love it.
my main topics are. Everything evolves around play, but I also use a lot of gamification and different things throughout my talks and experiences. So it's really an experience, but it may be a topic on leadership or a topic on communication in general. So yeah, but those are the elements that go through.
Or in
So
this
we're,
case, a topic of love and
yes.
dating and relationships.
Yeah. And
I
as we
love.
said, like the couples who stay curious stay connected. So
Mm,
I think that that's at the core, that's really so important here when we talk
yeah.
about love.
Well, and it was interesting because one of the questions that I was thinking about is, how do we stay? Like, this is such, I'm in a bunch of different groups and navigating, with clients and things like that, the issues around dating. Like, it's just such a nightmare out there, according to what they say. And I've dated, obviously, we've dated and done the online dating in particular, and it's what it is today is far different than what it was even 10 years ago.
Yes.
But one of the things that, they're just so frustrated. And I feel like with that frustration, I imagine, and from what I've gathered from working with clients and things, is they bring that to the date. So do you have any, like, games or way to gamify a first date so that it takes off all that pressure? I actually just recently talked about that. I did a video and an article about, like, stop making it so serious. I referenced the show Gidget with Sally Field and how she was going on dates like every week with a new guy, even though she had Moondoggy was her main guy. But I guess they had an open relationship in the 60s. But, it was just fun and light, and it wasn't so heavy and serious.
Yes, I love where you're going with this. And I think that's funny because thinking about that show, now you got me thinking about that show.
Oh
And
my
I used
god,
to
that was one of
love
my favorites.
watching it. Yeah. But I think it boils down to like love isn't maintained by these grand romantic gestures nearly as often as it's maintained by tiny moments of play. So we think about it, it could be that inside joke that no one else understands but you and your partner. It's dancing terribly in the kitchen and they're laughing at you. It's making up ridiculous voices for the dog or the cat or whatever animal that you share together. And then it's sending those dumb memes because you know it'll make them laugh. So it's those tiny, tiny moments. They're not distractions from love. They're part of it. They're evidence of it because play says we're on the same team and fear says I have to win. And I think a lot of us fall into fear with it instead of we're maintaining like I need to stay in play mode. And love has a much easier time growing than when we're in competition.
Mm,
So maybe the goal here isn't to find love. Maybe it's to keep inviting each other to play
mm,
in small, tiny moments.
mhm. That's
So
beautiful.
I
I
think
love
it's
that.
like I know it may sound more difficult than it is, but it's really something simple. Like even if you take your day and one thing I could do today, like you're both at work and send a funny meme or send something that like, oh, I thought of this joke or I saw this and thought of you, like something fun. Or maybe we should try playing this game. And then I used to, back in college, I started doing these scavenger hunts and I would make them up,
Yep.
but I would like plant little things. Like, for example, I go to my boyfriend's apartment and at the time, and I'd put like a little note in a shoe. And then I go to a different place and I like, so each note led him to another place. And he was like, that was the most fun game I've ever played.
Aw, I
So
love
like different things like that. It's just the element of surprise. And that's really what play is.
that's amazing. And so what about on a first date though? How can they gamify that? Because that's where so much seriousness lies, at least right
Yeah.
out of the gates.
So first dates, I find it like instead of asking, so if you think about a first date, and Kelly, you would know this better than me since you're the dating coach here, but if I think back, because it's been a while, I've been married for what, 14 years now, but if I think back to dating and I remember the standard questions that people would ask, so tell me about you. I think if you put a different spin, make those questions a game, and it's kind of like the game that we played when you were on the show.
Mhm.
Like you just make it into a game. Like you could think of like, and now with the help of ChatGPT or whatever your AI is, you can easily come up with games that you can play with the first date person. Like what are some different questions that I can ask on the first date? How
Love
can I
that.
gamify them? Like
I'm
it's
writing that
now
down.
more simple than ever because there's so many like that you can instead of saying, "Oh, tell me about you." Or and the other thing too is think of like you if you know what questions somebody's going to ask you, typical dating questions on the first date, think of a way that you can use your own personal story in a story that you're answering in
Mhm.
versus just saying, I'm from Boston. And
Yeah.
then that's all you say. Like, because
Right.
it's more close ended. You want to be open about it and share as much as possible. But maybe you think of funny stories that you normally wouldn't think of because you're planning ahead.
I love that. That's one thing that excuse me, one thing that a friend of mine brought to my awareness that I had never thought of is planning answers ahead, like having some stock answers prepared before you go on the date so it doesn't sound like a job interview. And so
Yes.
it
Yeah. Because it's
sounds
boring.
yeah. So having
It's
a few of
so,
those funny stories that you've already curated in your mind, and then you can just recall them at the appropriate time, and then ask them, "Tell me your funniest story." I have a couple friends who are amazing at that. One of my friends, I'm so envious too because they just think of this stuff. We went to a party one time, and she's like, "All right, tell me your most embarrassing moment." We're standing with this group of people. "Tell me your most embarrassing moment." Like, that's the first thing. We just introduced ourselves, and then she throws that out, and I'm like, "That is so brilliant," because it's so
yeah.
light, it's fun, we heard some funny things, we're laughing, like, it just cuts the ice. It was such a brilliant question. And then another friend of mine, she with her boyfriend, she would cut his hair, and they would play barbershop. And when she was cutting his hair, he was allowed to talk to her about his girlfriend and the issues he was having with her as if this wasn't his girlfriend cutting his hair. And they
Oh,
would just talk about what was coming up for him in a way that was she was, a third party person. And I love that so much because it takes her out of the role of, personalizing it and,
Mm.
feeling attacked to whatever. And she's just cutting somebody's hair and he's just
Y-
complaining to the woman about his girlfriend or sharing whatever is going on with them. Like, so fun. I love those things. So that's fantastic. And I
Yeah.
love yeah, go ahead.
And the other thing too is like you can make it something simple as improv. Like you
Yeah.
tell the person that you're meeting, okay, even if they're not trained in improv or have never taken an improv class, you can kind of play a little game. You can say, okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions. They're going to be rapid fire questions. Like every answer you say, you have to begin with yes and or whatever you want them to begin with. Like you can make
Yeah.
it fun and change it up. But I think those kind of things, or the other game that's really fun is have that person you start a sentence or you start a story that you're making up on the fly, and then you end that sentence. They have to pick up where you end, and then go back and forth with each
I
other.
love
So by
that.
the time you're done, you have like this fun, funny story that's made up. You've never heard it before, but you're like riffing off of each other, and it's an instant way to connect.
It's so funny. I've done that. The same friend with the tell me your embarrassing story, we would do that when we were spending time together, and we'd come up with the most insane stories. It was and crying, laughing. So that's such a
Yeah.
great suggestion. There was something. What was I going to say before? Um, oh, I was about to go on a date, and I was listening to a Rolling Stones song came on, and he was saying the word "shadoobie" in the song. So I said to him, "Okay, I have a dare for us actually, and that is to incorporate the phrase shadoobie as much as we can into whomever we're talking to. So when the server comes over, throw in shadoobie, or when we're, out and we went to go see a band play, and so somewhere we have to throw in shadoobie too. And it was so hysterical. That was a really fun game to play. So things like that. And when we're
Yeah.
in that place of joy, it's so magnetic.
Oh, that's such a Kelly, that's such a great word because I'm
Yeah.
thinking of all the times you could like I would have been like, do you have any shadoobie mushrooms that go on my steak or go on my burger? Like I'd be trying to add it as a condiment.
So
They'd be like,
much fun.
what? Let me ask. Like you don't know like what's gonna happen.
It's making my eyes water thinking about it because it was so funny. And he was French, so it was even funnier because he has an accent. And he was kind of more like he didn't really tap into his playful side that much. So to see him actually embrace it and do it was so fun. It was a blast. We had a good
Oh, but
time.
it's just funny.
Yeah. So I think I love this. I love having some planned games that
Hmm.
you can incorporate. Just so what if the person is dull or whatever, then they're not a match. But it allows you to be light and have fun with whomever you're with, whether you're going to end up with them or not. Just cuts that
Yes.
pressure and allows it to be. Because I've been
And
on
then what
dates.
if they
I was gonna say I've been on
oh
dates where it felt like a job interview. So
yes.
me too. I wasn't ready at the time, so I shouldn't have been dating, but and I was just like, "Okay, so what do you do?" "Yeah," and it was kind of like this monotone and kinda like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And, like, that's not that's not intriguing or attractive, We
No.
wanna come off again, I don't care. I finally got into the mind space of, I don't care how I land for you. If you think I'm a wackadoo, then you're not my person. But if you are like, "Oh my god, this is amazing," then let's go.
Exactly. And like, what's the worst thing that the person can say? Like, say you're playful, you play some games, you make some suggestions, and like, are they going to text you later and say, "Oh, I don't think this is a match. You seem like you want to have too much fun." Okay. Is that the worst thing anybody said about me?
Exactly.
I'll move on to the next person that
You're
wants
too
to have
silly.
like play games.
Exactly. I don't do silly, sorry. Well, okay.
Looking for something serious. Okay. Have a boring life. Okay.
Yeah, right? I love that. That's so good. Oh my gosh, so much fun. So, what a lot of women who I work with are coming out of a significant relationship and are ready to get back out there again and may have started or maybe a little bit um, nervous because of all the narratives around dating right now. And feeling like I don't want to go through what I went through before. That was traumatic. So, what are some ways that they can kind of start to embrace their playful self, especially if they've been like mom and wife and employee or employer, if they're a business owner, like how can they start to, if they've kind of lost themselves in that, how can they start to get into that playful spirit again?
So I think play is one of the fastest ways to get people out of their heads. So if we think about it, like we want to get out of our head and into our hearts. And when we're playing, we're not trying to impress anyone. Usually when we're playing, we're laughing, right? We're being curious, we're making eye contact, and then we're saying, oops, instead of I have to be perfect. And I think that's really where the connection lives. So if you can start playing more games, even with yourself,
Yeah.
that'll put you there. And then if you think about the connection to love, like love doesn't usually grow in performance mode, right? It grows in play mode.
Mm,
So when you think
wow.
of all the times that you're connected to your partner, like if you made a list for anybody that's listening, if you made a list and you think about all the times that you're connected to your partner, usually those times where, oh, we were laughing during a movie that we connected on, we remembered from when we were kids. Like it was usually something when you were actively playing, laughing, or having fun together. It's not like when you were crying over something or mad at something, you're not remembering those things. So that's really
What
play
are,
mode.
what can they do though by themselves to start activating the play mode? Do you have any
So by
suggestions?
themselves, it's the same kind of the same things that we were just talking about, except you're one on one. Like, so thinking of like journaling, like remembering the times when you were playful. Like, I always like to tell people to go back to their 5-year-old self.
Mm,
What was the things that made you happy at 5? And usually if you start doing some of them, like for me, one of the things I love doing, and I know this is going to sound weird, is coloring. I still will color. Like I
oh,
love
good.
coloring with my daughter who is 8. And
Mm,
she's like, oh, do you want to color with me, mommy? Like anytime we get one of those menus when we're out to eat, I'm always the first one that says, yes, I want to color, because it just makes me happy. It
yeah.
reminds you of when you were a kid and you were coloring outside the lines. And then at some point somebody said to you, okay, well, we can't color outside the lines anymore. We've got to stay inside the lines. And I'm like,
Mm,
no, I want to color outside the lines. So
that's
find
amazing.
what makes you happy. And usually going back to when we were 5, that's the magical age that we pick something. Oh, I remember I played with my brother and we ran around and we played tag, like whatever it is. Then go
Just be
do
careful
that
of your
same
knees.
activity. What's that?
Watch your knees.
Yes.
Protect those knees. I
Don't
love
do any
that.
surrender squats.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. One of my friends we would go to this restaurant that had white paper tablecloths and they'd throw down some crayons. And so she would draw a line and say, okay, now draw a picture. And I actually brought that into my classroom. It's called squiggle writing. And
Yeah.
I would draw a line on their notebook, on their journal, I mean, and they would have to convert it into a picture, and then they'd have to write a little story, give me like a paragraph about what's going on in your illustration, and they absolutely loved it. So I'm like, you can do that with your friends. I mean, these are my friends that we were doing this together. So these are things that you could do with your friends too. Find a friend who also wants to maybe activate their play or already is very playful and start to do these fun things, or draw yourself a line and fill in, complete the illustration. It's a really fun activity. My students love
Yeah.
that. So I love
And
those.
and also too, getting some Play-Doh. That's the
Oh,
other thing too. Like you can get like different, like sometimes I don't know if there's a Michael's, like, there's got to be a Michael's. They're pretty much everywhere, right? Like the
yeah,
craft store. You
yeah.
go there, like whatever appeals to you.
Or Target.
Like yeah, or Target. Like some
Yeah.
types of crafting. There's any that kind of stuff activates our play. So
I love that. Yeah.
versus just
Getting
sitting there. I mean, there's even the games on the
yeah.
phone.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so you can play those. I mean, I'm a big fan of Miss Pac-Man. That's one of my favorite games.
Is that on the phone?
No, I don't have it on my
Oh.
phone. Actually, it's on my husband's phone. It's not on
Oh, so they
mine.
do
He's
have it.
got some game up. Yeah. So there's Miss
Oh.
Pac-Man. I cannot find Pitfall, and that used to be my
Oh
favorite
my God, that
game
was my
when I was a kid.
favorite
Yep.
Atari game. I love Pitfall. I found it. I think they have like they were selling like an Atari game set where it was like the console and then there were 100 games or something that were Atari
Yeah.
games, and Pitfall was one of them. That was one of my favorite games growing up as well. My mom loves Miss Pac-Man, so I actually saw at
Yes.
Costco recently like a mini game
Yeah.
console that's like an arcade game, like but the tabletop one.
Oh, that would be okay. I would never get any work done, Kelly, because I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm playing Miss Pac-Man.
It's my playtime, guys. Do you schedule playtime in your life?
So now what I do is I take play breaks. So if I
Wow.
have something to work on, I'll set a timer, like I'll work for 20 minutes on it, like 20 minutes focus time, and then I'll take a 5 minute play break and then I'll go back to 20 minutes and like so forth. So I'm taking like multiple play breaks throughout the day. I take
Oh,
snack breaks and play breaks
that is so good.
because eating is important.
When COVID hit, I mean, they were doing it before, but when COVID hit, brain breaks in the classroom became so necessary, especially with online teaching. And now on YouTube, there are 5 bazillion brain break activities, and they're so much fun. Some of them are just,
Yeah.
dancing to the song or, and with movements. There was one farmer in the I forget, bingo or farmer in the Dell or something. And it was so much like he amped it up and dancing around with the ducks and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so it's so much fun. So I'm sure your daughter probably has done those brain breaks. They're so fun and really get the wiggles out and have you laughing and having a good time. So even
Yeah.
find some brain breaks that you're like, ooh, go to YouTube, find a brain break that your 5-year old would be like, yes, and do it.
Yeah.
I,
Exactly. And also too, I like to tell a lot of women like don't start by looking for a partner. I think, and you said this before, I've heard you say this before, like you're looking within yourself first. But for play, start by looking for your smile. Because a lot of
mm,
times we lose our smile. Where did our smile go?
mm,
Ask yourself, what did I love doing before life got so serious? Because I think at some point, and we talked about this a little earlier, when people turn 18, it's like, congratulations, you're an adult.
mhm,
Now you can't have fun anymore. But maybe it's something as simple as dancing in the kitchen. Maybe
mm,
you remember the mini golf game. People love playing mini golf.
yeah,
Karaoke, you can go with some friends. Like they
yep.
can take an art class. Like there's so many things. And then, of course, go buy yourself a box of crayons if you don't have an 8-year-old that has 100 of them, because no one's stopping you. Nobody's going to say no.
Well, and it's interesting because that kind of became an activity to do as a meditation, is those
Hmm.
intricate coloring books that came back out again, probably within
Yeah.
the last 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
There's one that
But
I
the
do
point,
on an app too. So fun.
yeah. But I think the whole point of it is that that play reminds us that we're not playing any, like we don't, who are we without all the roles that we've been playing? Like there's so many roles that we play in life,
Mm,
but when you reconnect with yourself first, I think that's when you stop looking for someone to complete you. You start looking for someone who's fun to play alongside.
mm. Wow, that's beautiful. I like the double
Yeah.
entendre of what's the role we've been playing, and we need to bring back the play, having fun,
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. It's important, right?
Yeah, it really is. It's so necessary. My favorite thing to do that activates my little girl, she is out loud and proud, is going to Disneyland.
Yes.
Yeah, when I'm at Disneyland, I let it all out. Like, just, I don't care. I'll go up and like harass kids, not in a mean way, but I have to be so serious in the classroom, right? I'm Miss Garnett. And so those were my outlets to actually like, and I would be silly with my students, but not, I had to be Miss Garnett. Now I get to be
Yeah.
Kelly, and who cares, So a friend
Yes.
of mine, another teacher, and I used to go together. We played ditch, hooky from work, and one
Shh,
thing
don't
she,
tell them.
it's okay now, but and our principal knew, um, but she would say, "Oh, you guys, you dropped your pocket," and it never failed. People would be like, "What? I dropped my pocket?" So just silly things like that, or I went roller skating one time years ago, and would just like come up behind the kids and I don't know, just be silly and goofy with them as if I was their age, and here's this 20, 30, whatever, however old I was at the time. Like, what is she doing, wacky? But it's so much fun to just let your hair
Yes.
down, especially if you're not with your own children and you have that freedom to just be like a goofy kid because you're not mom mode or, again, work mode or whatever. Like you can just be silly and goofy and it's so relaxing and freeing and again, being that magnetic in that magnetic vibe of joy and fun.
Yeah, now you make me want to go to Disney again.
Oh,
It's
girl,
fun.
anytime you're in town, we'll go. My boyfriend hadn't been since he was little, so we went to out here we have California Adventure too. So we crammed in both parks right before the last day of the Christmas decorations, and I figured, oh, everybody's back to school. It won't be that crowded. It was a zoo. So
Really?
yeah, so we got to get on my favorite rides at California Adventure, and then we did a few at Disneyland. But he's like, I need to spend a day just in Disneyland. That was
Mhm.
awesome to see, but I really want to take in all of Disneyland because I haven't been here in so long, and like spend the time looking at things and going on the rides and reminiscing because it's it's so different now too. And so we were supposed to go back and then spring break comes and now it's summer and I won't go in the summer because it's too hot. So once it cools down again, we'll be going back to spend the day in
Oh,
Disneyland.
nice.
I know it's so much fun. I love it. It is definitely my
Yeah.
happy place and where my little girl just soars.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. What's one of the biggest lies we've been told about growing up?
Oh. I think the one we've already hit on, right? Is it's basically you have to like you can't be a kid anymore.
Yeah.
That isn't true, right? That's something that we've I guess we told ourselves like, oh, we can't be a kid. But I
Yeah.
think that maturity means becomes you have to be it's becoming serious, and that's one of the things I don't buy, because I think growing older should mean becoming more yourself, not less joyful. And kids
Mm,
don't play because life is easy, they play because play helps them handle life. If you
mm,
think about a kid and think about all the things that you go through, but then flash forward to adults need that just as much, but the problem that we have is we simply forgot.
yeah.
And one of the things I always say is we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing.
Wow.
So make sure that you're always playing. And that's why it's so important. I'm always encouraging play and laugh breaks throughout the day. Like take them. They're just as important as your snack break.
That's amazing. So good. You can even call up a friend and just tell them a joke and then hang up on them.
Yes. I have this. Oh, Kelly, you just reminded me of something so funny. I had this card that my best friend got me, and this was when I was in my 20s, and it was a birthday card. But when you opened the birthday card up, it had this like maniacal laugh inside. So I kept the card over the years. And then, like, every once in a while, I'm like, I'll find the card again. And then I was like, I've got to call her and just leave her this message. And all I do is call, I wait for the voicemail, and then I open it. It goes, ha 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 ha, ha ha ha. And like, it
I
just,
love that,
yeah.
Lisa.
She'd be like,
That's
you
so
still have that
good.
card? Like, she remembers because we used to call some of our other friends together with it. It would be like the
Oh my
funniest
God.
thing. And they'd be
That
like,
is,
who's this? Why are you calling me? They thought it was a prank call. It was like, no, it's us. We were just having fun.
I love
Yes, we're
that.
26. We're not 16, but it's fun.
Yes, I love that. Doing those stupid kinds of things. And now with, I mean, again, like you said, AI and memes, like there's so many
Mhm.
easy things. Go on YouTube, search up a funny video and send that to somebody to make them laugh. Random person in your life, somebody maybe that you've lost touch with, or an employee or employer, whomever. Like, I'm going to make somebody smile today. One of
Yeah. I need
the
to find that
professors,
card.
yeah, one of my professors at grad school, he said that was his goal every single day was to make somebody laugh at least once. So
Yes.
even doing that makes you
Yes.
feel good too.
Yes. You're giving somebody a gift.
Yeah, it's so true. And that is the best gift to give.
Yes.
Laughter, for sure.
Agreed.
So as we wrap up, this has been amazing, Lisa. Thank you so much. I would love to hear what play has taught you about love. You kind of touched into it a little bit at the beginning, but just to wrap this up neatly.
Yes. Yes. Well, play taught me that love isn't about finding somebody who checks all your boxes.
Mm.
It's really about finding someone who helps you forget the boxes even exist. Because we want to forget those boxes. And it's choosing someone you can laugh with when life goes sideways. And a lot of times when we're lifing, I don't know if that's even a word, but
Yeah,
it
I
goes
use it.
sideways.
Adulting.
And play definitely carries you through some of the hardest moments of your life.
Yeah.
And for me, it was recovering from a brain tumor just months before my wedding. So I played my way through that, but it reminded me that joy can exist alongside fear. And I think that's the important lesson here
Mhm.
because, and laughter can coexist with uncertainty. And right now, we're in a world of uncertainty. And I believe that love works the same way. You don't have to wait until life is perfect to experience it. Sometimes all you have to do is say, do you want to play?
Mm. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy cow. What a great way to do. Have you done this before?
No, no. I
Ah,
talk
so
about play
good.
all the time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you came on our show, and this was so much fun. Ah.
Yes, we had fun playing together.
Yes, it was, even just in our conversations. And for those of you who are interested, I'll be putting Lisa's information in the notes. Thank you so much again, and you guys have a great day.